Welcome to another episode of Thriving by Nature with Bethany Stone. I'm obviously Bethany Stone, and I'm excited to do another podcast. So, if you haven't noticed or if you've been following me, you'll probably notice that I am actually not a consistent podcaster. And that's okay because that's where I'm at in my life. If you want to hear more of my podcasts, I am a guest very frequently on many podcasts. So you can just Google search Bethany Stone podcast and you'll be able to find many podcasts that I'm a guest in. And I truly enjoy doing podcasting, but for right now, podcasting is a great thing and I'm excited to do it, but it's not my full thing. I'm very busy speaking and coaching, and I really truly fulfill myself by doing those things. And I only do things that I love to do. That is a rule I have for myself. So I will continue to podcast when I have a moment or when there is something that I feel like I really think that this is a beneficial skill or something that needs to be talked about. So today we're actually going to be talking about one of those things, and that is self awareness. So, we're going to be talking about self awareness and also emotional intelligence and emotional awareness and what that kind of looks like. So, first, I want to start with a story because I do feel that stories are a great way to teach. Okay, so this story starts off with a young girl, and she does really well. She is young and she's in school and she's a straight A student. She plays an instrument, she is in sports, she's very popular. All the teachers love her, she has a lot of friends, and she feels like she has a very happy, successful life. She gets into college, and slowly she starts to feel very sad. She starts to feel depressed. She starts to just kind of fall and close in on herself. She doesn't understand why until one day she's taking her psychology class and she learns about intrinsic motivation. And she realized that for her entire life, she wasn't doing things for herself. She was doing things because she was getting that gold star. She was doing things because she was doing it for the grade. She was doing it because someone was telling her good job and she was getting recognition from other people. And as time went on, she stopped doing things for herself. And when you go to college and people aren't telling you good job anymore, and things are a little bit harder, she wasn't finding the same satisfaction that she was out of life because people weren't giving her the same type of recognition. So, what does this story have to do with self awareness? I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm going to share a quote. This quote is from Aristotle, and it says, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. When you understand yourself and you understand that you need to have more than just an outward approval of everyone else, that you need to have an inward satisfaction of why you do things. You have to understand your why and your drive behind the why. You become a full person. You become a leader. You become somebody who will do things because it's the right thing to do rather than you're getting a pat on the back for it. So, here is an interesting statistic about that. So, according to a survey by Harvard Business Review, self aware leaders are 19% more likely to be successful and 15% more engaged in their work. Yet, there are studies that show that only 10 to 15% of people can accurately even assess their own strengths and their own weaknesses. So, how self aware are you? Do you know the emotions that you feel every day? Can you name a high point of your day and a low point of your day? Can you be aware of what's happening at all times with yourself? Are you doing it because you know that if you push through something hard, it's going to be better? So, there are four different pillars of self awareness, four different areas that I really feel like are just the core portion of self awareness. So the first one is understanding areas of yourself. And through these, you'll be able to. First one is your emotional awareness. You need to understand your feelings. You need to understand what makes you upset, what triggers you, what your reactions are. Why are you reacting? Are you reacting positively, negatively? Why are you having an emotional response to whatever is happening? The second one is your values and your beliefs. What truly matters to you? What is the core part of who you are? What is the belief system or your values? Are you doing them because you know it's the right thing to do? And then the third one is your strengths and your weaknesses. What are your pros and cons to any self awareness? When you come up to things and they become difficult, do you make a pro and cons list? Do you try to level it out? Are you going with your emotions, with your heart, with your brain? How are you gauging these things? And then what are your thought patterns? That's the fourth. Are you having thought patterns that sabotage you? Are you having negative thought patterns? Are you having positive thought patterns? When you have a negative thought, do you spiral down into a vicious cycle? Do you try to jump into a virtuous cycle and try to use that thought to boost you or to put you down? There's a lot of different examples of supporting or sabotaging thoughts. And I think that that might be in a whole other podcast because I could talk on that for a long time. So maybe I will do a sooner one. We'll see. So, author, his name is Malcolm Gladwell. I love him. I think that all of his books are just gold nuggets. I learned so much from him. He is just a wise man. And he has a book. Whoops, it beeped. It's okay. He has a book that I really enjoy, and it is called Blink. Now, in this book, he says quick gut reactions are based on subconscious awareness. When you tune into those instincts, you are practicing a form of self awareness that guides your actions instinctively. So, when you follow your gut instincts, when you just say, I just felt like I really needed to do that, you are literally following and you're actually practicing self awareness because you know what you need to do. You're doing it for yourself. You already know. That is very much so a leadership trait. So, why self awareness? Self awareness is a trait that will really transform your life. It is a foundation for growth. If you want to grow in any aspect of your life, you have to be aware of what's happening, where you're at, where you are emotionally, where you are with your values, where you are with your strengths and your weaknesses, and where you are with your thought patterns. If you do not understand where you're at, you do not have that foundation to be able to grow. You're either going to be stuck in sabotaging thoughts, or you're just not going to be able to do it at all because you'll be not stuck in sabotaging thoughts, but stuck in analytical thought and thinking of everything that you could do, and then no progress is made at all. You have to know where you are at and be aware of where you're at and how to break free from that. So the next part is, how can I cultivate self-awareness? How do I build this in my life? You only have one. Well, how you build it, hold on, let me move my notes around, is 3 steps. And I wrote down these 3 steps, and I thought that they were really accurate for, well, building self-awareness because this is a life skill. That's what I do, is I teach life skills. So, for the purpose of my super quick podcast of just helping and supporting, I will give you these 3 tips. The very first one is to reflect. If you want to be able to understand your self awareness, you need to understand how you're feeling. You need to reflect regularly on your day. Think of a high point of the day, think of a low point of the day. Think of why you did that. Why did you push through this hard thing? For example, I love to run, but I also think that running is a trap. I truly do, because I am not a young spring chicken anymore, and I'm okay with that. But to be able to do as much cardio as running needs, it takes a lot of time to be able to do that. And so if I stop running for an amount of time, I have to go through all the pain to be able to run again because I cannot just bounce back like I did when I was young. So running is kind of a trap. You got to keep running or you lose it. Now, I love running, but I hate it. The reason why is because when I'm running, it hurts. It really does. That first mile is really painful for me. My heart rate is going up. My muscles, they tense up. And wherever I'm tight, kind of like is more accurate and I can feel it, or acute, not accurate, but I can feel it even more wherever I'm tense on my body. And as I run, and I know that if I can push through that first mile, all of a sudden everything changes. I can have all that pain. And as I continue, that pain goes away and the pain changes into joy every time. All of a sudden, I'm so happy. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And I start looking around and I'm like, wow, look at the birds. I can hear these beautiful things. Or if I'm at the gym on a treadmill, you know what? I'm really starting to love the song. This is a great song. Or this is a not amazing podcast. I'm listening and I'm learning a lot. I completely shift from the uncomfortable state and the pain and everything else to joy 100% of the time. Now, why do I tell you this? Because this is an awareness that I've had to make. When we push through the hard things, we know that there's reward, and that is a self awareness. Just like waking up in the morning. It is hard some days. Some days you do not want to get up and out of bed. But if you push through that, think of all the beautiful things that happen throughout your day, the highs, the lows, all the things that happen, the emotions, the great connections that you make. And if you weren't pushing through that difficult, just little piece of the day, you would not be experiencing those. You need to have that emotional awareness of why you push through a difficult thing to be able to have something more positive, which usually always happens. So the first step, again, is to reflect. Your second step is to seek feedback. Talk to somebody. Talk to a loved one, talk to somebody you're close with, and ask them if they have feedback for you. Ask them if, you know what, have I been acting a little bit crazy? Or when I do this, do you feel like that's a trigger for me? Do you feel like I'm a high or a low? What is happening with me? Ask them. Be honest with them. See how you think your self awareness is compared to somebody else's. Ask questions. Next one is observe. So this is number 3. Observe patterns. Patterns could be if I don't eat at a certain time, I end up with low blood sugar and then I kind of end up grouchy and I'm a lot shorter tempered than I should be. I have less patience. Or a pattern could be if I don't get in sleep at a regular time, I know that I'm going to be grouchy and it's going to be harder for me to wake up. Or it could also be if I stray from a routine, it's harder for me to keep on track. These are all patterns that we have in our lives. Keep track of these patterns because that's going to bring you also more self awareness of you, your emotions, and your emotional intelligence. So, thank you for listening to another podcast by me, Bethany Stone. If you want to get in touch with me, you can message me through the wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're hearing it. And or you can just email me at bethany@thrivingbynature.com. You can reach out to me on socials. I am on Facebook and Instagram. I am on LinkedIn and you can find me. I'm Bethany Stone, and I would love to be able to connect, to hear from you. And if you have any suggestions on anything that you want to hear, a life skill that you would like to me to talk to or about, let me know. And I will catch you next time when I put out another podcast. Okay, we'll see ya.